Good morning, chat. Where? Okay. Good morning, chat. All right. So I now have super chat. I've never used this before, so this is going to be a learning experience for both of us. 30 minutes. An hour. All right. Sorry, I'm like trying to figure out this super chat thing. Give me a second. Okay. All right, so I set a goal for my super chats. Happy Passover to you. Yes, we're doing outside time today. If I get 30 super chats, I'll do a garden live stream for you guys. Because I need to get dirt for the garden, which is what I would probably use the super chat money for. So, is this ever gonna close? No, it's got like a tarp or something in there and it's just gonna refuse. All right. How was everybody's weekend? Yes, dirt money. All right. So, let's see. So I had a couple different topics that I thought about doing on stream today. You went to church for the first time. Awesome. I'm proud of you. My partner met my family. It was a little nerve-wracking, but went well. We actually went out to my dad's house this weekend to see them, to see him and his new man. My dad has a new man. He's very nice. Ah, Heron Plus Cats, thank you so much for the dirt money. Yes, the new man is nice. He's very sweet. I think he'll be a good match for my dad, too. Remember to like the stream also, guys. All right. So, I had a couple different topics I wanted to cover with you guys today. I don't know if we'll get to both of them, but we can at least do the one. So, where is my vape? Oh, yes, the joys of being a nicotine addict. Never start this shit, kids. It's a dirty, expensive habit. And it's so hard to get rid of. I keep sitting here thinking how ironic it is that I'd like nothing more than to be a housewife who takes care of her kids and family and garden, but the GOP is the reason I can't afford to do that. Seriously, like they want this stuff, but they don't want to create the material conditions necessary for people to raise families. Like, if you want people to raise families, then you have to create the material conditions that people can do that. Like, all right. So, we're going to talk about the internet today. Everybody's favorite topic, the internet. Where is my bar? Why are we doing this, computer? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So, we have a bit of a problem when it comes to the internet, don't we? As in, we have this new technology, but we don't really know what to do with it, right? It's kind of the Wild West. We have this new technology, and it's obviously having effects on our society, right? But we've never really created any sort of roadmap for navigating it. VPN, have burner accounts. Yes, those are all very good things, but I'm thinking more about the social interaction end of things, right? We never, like, okay, so let's just take a random place that you go, right? The grocery store, right? We've had grocery stores for a really long time. We know what the rules of the grocery store are, right? Now, some people still don't follow those rules, but we generally know what is and is not bad form in the grocery store. For example, if you go to the grocery store and you take off all of your clothes, that's not the appropriate place to do that, right? If you go to the grocery store and you yell at the cashier, you know, people still do that, but it is looked down upon. It is considered bad form. You will get made fun of if you do that, right? So, we kind of know, because we've been in these places for so long, how we should interact with them. With the internet, we don't really have that. We never really made rules, right? Like, there are the rules of the internet that you see on, like, 4chan, right? Don't say things online that you wouldn't say to a person in real life. Yes. They're like the rules of the internet that 4chan made up years ago, but those are mostly silly. There are some things on there that's like, okay, whatever. And some of them are just very bad advice for how to interact with this technology. So I have been working on the some rules of the internet, right? Some basic standard rules of the internet, and I kind of wanted to run them by you guys. And see what you thought. And this isn't just rules for how to interact on the internet, but also rules for how to engage with this technology, right? Things to do in real life that affect how we engage with this technology, if that makes sense. And yeah, like a lot of what you are, you guys are writing down, I will probably add in. Because it's a lot of like how to avoid scams and stuff like that. Okay. So here's what I have so far, right? The first, set time limits on all your social media. This is something you can do literally like on your phone. you can set your phone, your social media apps to only allow you to be on them for a certain amount of time. So, sorry, the wind. We get to hear the nice wind chimes though now. Yeah, you can set time limits on all of your on all your social media. You just go into, if you get your kid a device, make sure the devices don't connect to the internet in any way. Yeah, that honestly, at this point, yeah. Yeah, you can go into your settings, and it depends on what kind of phone you have. Every phone has like a different process to go through. But yes, you can go into your phone and you can literally set time limits. Now, if you work on the internet like I do, I have my social media set for 3 to 5 hours. I don't need to be on TikTok for more than 3 to 5 hours a day. And that is as someone who literally works on the app. Okay? That is as someone who literally works there. Oh, thank you so much, storytelling mathematician. I appreciate it. So, for you guys, I'll be so for real, you probably don't need more than 1 to 2 hours. And I guarantee you don't realize how long you are on these apps unless you set these limits, because you're gonna hit them and then you're gonna be like, holy shit, I spend a ton of time, like a ton of my life, engaged in this place that is essentially the Wild West. Like, let's be so for real, our brains aren't entirely set up, like we have not evolved to be in this Wild West place as long as we are. And like it is, like it's affecting our brains, right? Because we are going to a place, we are dropping ourselves into a place randomly throughout the day that is lawless. And we do not have it in ourselves to do that. Thank you so much. I think it's Margaritaville. Is that how we're pronouncing it? Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. I listen to a lot of podcasts and educational materials on YouTube. How do I continue to do those things with these things in mind? So, if you're listening to like podcasts or video essays, I think you can be a little more lenient on yourself with those things. But things like Blue Sky or Twitter or Facebook, they're lawless. There's no way to, like, you're just dropping yourself into places that will probably make you angry randomly, and that's not good for our brains. And so you have to interact how long you spend in that kind of place. Instagram, like these are places where you are regularly subjecting yourself to content that is going to probably make you angry. It is, you're constantly subjecting yourself to that. You're constantly subjecting yourself to terrible news going on all over the world. You're constantly subjecting yourself to, like videos of violence. And it's not good for your head. It's not. It's just not. And there's this kind of mentality, right, that you have to stay on it all the time, so you're like bearing witness. But like, if you do that all the time, you're going to either become jaded and give up, or you're going to become paralyzed and not be able to do anything, because we are physically, like mentally, not able to process that amount of information. Our brains can't handle it. So you have to limit the amount of time you spend on these apps. It's bad for you. It's bad for me. I'm in the same boat. I don't really engage with YouTube as a social media app the same way as Facebook or Blue Sky. I go to learn and have background noise during chores. Yeah, that's how I utilize YouTube as well. Though I have to say, there is, I think the app is called Libby. It is a library app. It helps your local library. And I am 99% sure they have audiobooks. And what you may want to look into is listening to audiobooks occasionally. So, and utilizing Libby helps your local library. So, it's a really good place to be. All right. Let's see. All right, number 2 rule of the internet. Turn off your notifications. You can go into your app and turn off your notifications on everything except for like text and messenger apps and email. Like, I only have my I don't have notifications set up on YouTube for comments that I get on my videos at all. I know that is a top tier way to ruin my day. I do not check the comments on YouTube. I don't do it. So I don't have notifications for comments on YouTube. I only have them for like when one of my favorite creators posts a new video, right? And I don't have notifications set up on any of my social media. None of them. I have it for Messenger, text, email, Signal, and email. That's it. That's it. You can turn off the notifications. You don't need them. Notifications exist to keep you coming back to the app. They exist to keep you coming back to the app because people know, these tech companies know that they can drive investment speculation off of how many times you open the app. I like my local news notifications, but I really should turn off my social media ones. Yes, local news ones I'd say are okay too. That keeps you informed of what's going on in your community. And honestly, at this point, let's be so for real, keeping up with local media is going to do you more good mentally than keeping up with national news. Keeping up with national news is important, but right now they are trying to overwhelm you. They are trying to overwhelm you. And it's all going to be different variations of fascist nonsense right now. Speculation should be illegal, honestly. I agree, but this is where we're at right now. All right. Let's see. with everything going on, I feel like I need notifications to know what's going on. It does wreck my mental health, though. Okay, so I understand why you feel like that. I often feel like that, too. The thing is, you don't actually... Like, I tried to avoid news for Lent, right? And I should still be doing it, but I failed epically at this point. But trying to avoid it actively made me realize something. Even if I am avoiding it actively, I still find out what's going on. I still find out what's going on most of the time, at least the really important stuff, because I have friends who will tell me, or I have, it gets told to you through the grapevine, eventually. Like, and you don't actually need notifications on everything all the time. All it does is bum you out. I promise you, chances are, even if you turn off the notifications, you will likely be informed enough to keep making informed decisions. Alright. So seriously, go into your phone and turn off all the notifications. It will drastically improve your mental health. Alright. Number 3, grass is your friend. Alright? Grass is your friend. If you consider yourself an activist, right? If you consider yourself an activist, at least 75% of your activism needs to be happening in the real world. Or producing actual tangible media that can be distributed in the real world. Okay? I understand some people aren't able to leave the house as often as others, right? Some people are just not. And that is a thing that we have to take into consideration. But you can be creating tangible media that can be distributed in the real world by real life people. Like, you can do that. There are plenty of ways that if you are someone who is housebound for whatever reason, that you can still contribute in real life. Real life is greater than online. Yes, the impact is greater too. The impact is greater. So a lot of this stuff needs to be like even if you are someone who cannot leave the house, right? For whatever reason. Which that's like a very, very common thing people bring to me. Well, what if I can't leave the house? So, I'm trying to figure out how to put this in the nicest way, where it doesn't, like, make people feel weird or invalidated, right? If you have some sort of, like, immunocompromised thing, or your access to transportation is low and stuff, like, I get it, okay? I understand. There are plenty of ways you can still help. But some people on the left are just agoraphobic. Like, a lot of younger people just have agoraphobia, and that is a condition that, while debilitating, and I want to acknowledge that, is something that you can't just sleep on. You have to, like, actively work through it, right? You have to do, like, certain types of therapy and stuff. You can't just give up and stay inside the house for the rest of your life. It's not good for your brain. COVID definitely gave some of us that agoraphobia. Yeah, no, it's like a chronic problem with Gen Z. I like I said, I don't want to make anybody feel shitty or bad, right? Like, that's not my intention by saying this. But when it comes to, like, mental health problems, like, you should be trying to get some of those diagnoses taken off your chart, guys. You really should. like, you should be actively working towards that goal so you can be less miserable. And I think some people, there are definitely people out there who simply like collecting them instead of trying to work through these issues they have. Um, and that's very unfortunate. And I think that, you know, it's unfortunate for them more than anything else, because they're the ones who are choosing to miss out on life by not. And I'm not saying these issues aren't real. That's what I want to like put like forth right now. I'm not saying that these issues don't exist, or that they aren't debilitating, or that they can't prevent you from doing certain things, but they are something that you have to actively try to work through. I was able to get PTSD off my chart. It took several years of therapy, but I finally don't meet the diagnostic criteria. Yes, exactly. Like, I think that a lot of people like get a diagnosis and they're like, this is forever. This is chronic. This is forever. I'm never going to get out of this. But you can. I've had several diagnoses taken off of my chart. Like, and you can't give up on that being a possibility. Now, there are some people who will not get those taken off their chart throughout their life. And that is a thing that happens to people. No matter how hard they try, they just can't get past it. And that is a thing for some people. And then, you know, there are other people who don't meet the diagnostic criteria, and then something happens and they do again. And these things can fluctuate. They're not set in stone. Your mental health issues are not your fault, but they are your responsibility. Exactly. And going outside, getting fresh air and sunlight and exercise and seeing either other people or animals or plants, just interacting with nature. I think you have to have, like, I call it the connection to God, right? I have to go outside because that's a connection to God. And if I don't interact with that, then I become very depressed. Like, I get depressed in the winter for that reason, because I don't like going outside in the winter. It's cold. I don't like it. Schizophrenia is forever, but it's my responsibility to keep myself cared for. And yeah, you're right. And there are therapies and medications that can help mitigate certain symptoms, so that people can, like, function more efficiently, you know? And I don't mean function in, like, a capitalist sense, like, you need to get back to work. I mean, like, be able to have, like, a good, fulfilling life, right? And you don't have to get rid of these things necessarily to have a good and fulfilling life, but you do have to get yourself to a point where they aren't, like, actively causing you misery at all times, you know? I found it helpful to sit outside and wave at neighbors. It was an easier start than actually leaving the house. Yeah, even something like that, you know, and then your neighbors know your face, right? Your neighbors know your face. A supportive community can do a lot, but it can't replace taking initiative on your own health. Yes. Sorry, my brain short-circuited there for a second. A supportive community can do a lot, but it can't replace taking initiative on your own health. Yeah, you have to. It is a large variety of things that improves your mental health, right? Like, it is for me, it was a combination of, I had to transition. I would not have been able to make any progress on my mental health, period, until that happened. I had to. There was no workaround for that one. The only cure to being transgender is to transition, right? Like, well, and it doesn't cure your being trans. It's just the only way to get rid of dysphoria is to do that. Like, so that was a major improvement to my mental health. So I'm on medication. I'm in therapy. There's lifestyle changes you have to make. so that you can care for your body. You got to go outside. You got to get that connection with God or the universe or whatever you call it. And then, like, you have to have a community, like a real life community. And let me tell you how good having a community is, right? How good having a community is. My friends, and some of them are in here, so this is my opportunity to thank you guys publicly. I am someone who has chronic back pain all the time. There's pretty much no time where I am not in some level of back pain. This morning it was really bad. And when I get stressed, it gets worse. And my friends, my community, pitched in a little bit of money, each of them, so that I can go get a massage. And relieve some of my back pain, because I've been really stressed out lately, so it's been really bad. And they are amazing. And that's the thing about community and community care, is that, like, it isn't, I feel like some people, when they think of, like, community, they think that they're just going to be giving all the time, but community gives back to you in many, many ways. Sometimes it's something tangible like that, but sometimes it's just that you have people around for your mental health. You have people around to have fun with. Like, these are material benefits to you as well. So even if, like, you're thinking of this on a purely selfish level, like, having community is a benefit to you. Sorry, I have to take off this drug rug, because if not, I'm gonna, like, sweat myself to death. It's hot. This morning, oh no. What the hell? Okay. My internet went funky for a second. Give me just a minute. Okay. Cool. Sorry, my internet was weird for a second. I had to fix it. There we go. There's a guy in my area who sits out in his front yard and waves at cars every day. He made the local news, and folks chipped in to build him a little pavilion so he can stay dry in the rain. See, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Even just something as small as sitting on the porch and waving at your neighbors is such a community building exercise, that those guys, the community chipped in for that guy to, like, have, like, a little pavilion so he doesn't get wet. I recently had a major crisis, and if it had happened a year ago, I would have been so screwed, because at that point I had no friends or any sort of community. Now I have friends, and it's, like, fine. No, really and truly, like, having good friends, having a community, has done wonders for my mental health. Absolutely wonderful. But you also have to be a good member of that community, and in order to be a good member of your community, you do have to take a certain level of initiative on your own well-being and mental health. Okay? You simply do. You have to make sure that you are a person who is capable of putting something into the pot. And that you aren't just, like, kind of frustrating to deal with, right? Everybody's got their own things, right? Everybody's got their own flaws that people are like, oh, I wish this person wouldn't do this. But, like, if there's a sense of love there, those, like, annoying little tendencies that every single human being has, you push through them because you love the people that you're around. Community is a net benefit, but also some folks learn to be less selfish challenge. Yeah. I think that we need to start, and here's the thing about joining community, right? I know COVID fucked a lot of people. It kind of fucked us all, actually. I feel like we're all collectively learning, like, relearning how to interact with humanity. And the thing is, what is kind of beautiful about that, if we're looking for silver linings, is that we get to look at, like, okay, what makes sense and what doesn't? What social ways we socially interact with each other? What makes sense and what doesn't make sense, right? What have we lost that we need to gain back? And what can we do without? And I think that that's a really interesting thing that we can kind of go through. But I think we need to make an active effort to figuring it out, which is part of why, Rules of the Internet exists, right? Because this is how we interact with each other, both in real life and online, and how online interacts with how we perceive each other in real life, right? It's okay to need help. It's okay to need accommodations. It's not okay to take advantage of other people to avoid responsibility for oneself. That's how I draw the line personally. Yeah, exactly. And you got to learn to take critique too. Like, and friends will know how to critique you. And that's the thing, is I feel like the internet allows us to critique people, but there's not the personal connection there for us to trust that people are making critique in good faith, right? Like, if someone on the internet tells me that I'm fucking it all up, there's a 90% chance I'm going to ignore them because I don't know you. I don't know you, right? If my friend tells me I'm fucking something up, then I'm going to be like, oh man, I might be fucking something up. You know what I mean? I've had such a hard time receiving help and support. I was raised to think I didn't need it and that asking was selfish. I am learning, but it is hard. Yes, it is hard. I'm someone who has a hard time asking for help too. Lord knows my friends know this. I also have a perfectionist streak that I've had to get over. And that's really difficult as well, because I'm like, I should do everything myself because I know how I want it done. And then I end up burning myself out and becoming a monster person. And I've had to, like, learn that, like, I just have to reach out and rely on my community sometimes. You are stubborn, my friend. Yes, I am. I am very stubborn. Um, and my wife is also stubborn, so that goes well, when we have disagreements. We've both had to learn how to be a little less hard-headed. See, I take off my jacket and then, like, the wind blows and I'm cold again. I hate this. Like, I feel like it's, like, a weird temperature out here where, like, not having a jacket is a little too chilly, but having a jacket is too hot. All right. All right, so here's one that may or may not apply to y'all, and it's going to be uncomfortable to talk about, and I'm sorry. I am sorry. But, limit your engagement with pornography, right? I know this is going to be one of those topics that make people uncomfortable, right? And I'm not completely against pornography as a whole. I'm not here to, like, harsh anybody's vibe, right? I'm not here to harsh anybody's vibe around what materials they consume. But I do think that people are in some ways becoming a bit reliant on it, especially young men. Especially young men. I feel like pornography is shaping a lot of young people's ideas of what sex is and is not. And I don't think that's particularly good for you. Now, like I said, it's not something I'm like, ban it, like, I'm not fucking Mike Johnson. But, like, oh, thank you, Tom T. Thank you for the super chat. It is nice to hear the birds. So, I think that's why it's part of why, at least, a lot of young people have problems with intimacy, because I think that they're learning how to be intimate from pornography. And I don't think that's the place to learn that. I think that that's why so many people are confused about consent. I think that's why so many people, there's so much discussion around kink, and around, what people tend to like in the bedroom. I think that's why, like, you have a good chunk, like, this chunk of fucking Gen Z men who are just, like, actively pro-rape at this point, and another chunk of Gen Z that acts like you need, a contract that's signed by both parties, a notary and a priest, to do a shag. And both of those are really bad. Sorry, the message about the birds came right during the discussion of porn. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Learning intimacy from porn is like learning how to talk from stage plays. Yes. It's a phenomenon that people depend on pornography so much that they become shocked that sex with real people isn't anything like it. It's like using Scream to understand serial killers. Yeah, exactly. So, like, actual human intimacy is nothing like pornography. It's nothing like that. Even if you engage in rougher things, it's not going to be like what you see in pornography. It's not, ever. It's also largely really bad for how it objectifies people, especially minorities. It can prime people to see others as objects and not people. Yeah, and I think that's why, like, a lot of young men are, like, in the boat they are right now. Now, okay, I'll be so for real right now. As a person who enjoys being intimate, sometimes a little objectification is nice as a treat, okay? Sometimes a little objectification is nice as a treat, but, like, it can't be the way you, like, walk through the world seeing other human beings, right? It's like a special thing that happens in the bedroom sometimes, Pop, I really like the consent advice you gave the other day in your dating video. Yeah, consent doesn't have to be weird, guys. It doesn't have to be weird. Like I said, some of y'all act like consent is where you have to have, like, a signed contract with both parties, a notary and a priest. Like, like, no, you can just do a shag, man. Like, it's okay. Objectification as a role play and not a worldview. Yep. I think one thing that doesn't get shown is how awkward sex is and how it's okay to be a little awkward. It doesn't have to be perfect. People have leg cramps and fart and burst out laughing. Yes. Yeah, no, and that is part of what makes it fun, right? Because it is vulnerability. You are naked with another person. And you are allowing that person to have access to your body and all of the weird shit that a body does. And so, the leg cramps and the farting and the laughing, it's all part of that vulnerability. And I think that people feel awkward with that. I think people feel awkward allowing themselves to be vulnerable, especially in an age where so many young people are so insecure. Yes, the bloopers are the best part. Really and truly. Yeah. Like, it's an act of vulnerability. Like, pornography doesn't require that of you. It doesn't require vulnerability. And I think that is what a lot of young men, especially, are seeking. I think they really do want intimacy. And they don't know how to get intimacy, so they think they just have to control someone, right? Like, but the thing is, when you objectify and control someone in that way, that doesn't leave space for intimacy, because it doesn't leave space for you to be vulnerable too. And if you aren't vulnerable too, then the other person is not going to be vulnerable with you, and that intimacy will never be achieved. So, one way I think that getting consent can be really sexy, um, is if if you've gotten to the point where, like, you're pretty sure consent, like, intimacy is going to happen, right? Like, you've gone on the date, you've done some, like, kissing, and all of that jazz, right? And you are moving in that direction. A good way to get to consent is to whisper in the other person's ear, "Do you want me?" And it can be really hot, right? "Do you want me?" Um, and if the person says yes, then you have consent. Being that kind of intimate requires vulnerability, and a lot of people are deeply insecure and unwilling to expose that about themselves. Yep, that's what it is. You got to be willing to be vulnerable with another person. All right. Now, on this topic, hold on. Someone brought up a good point about the younger generations who have grown up on the internet, and they're constantly aware of an invisible comment section that will judge them. Yeah. So I'll be so for real with you. As I walk through my day, because I work on the internet, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this too. Sometimes things will happen and I can hear the invisible comment section. I can hear it. I know what the comment section will say, and it affects the way I walk through life. It affects the way I walk through life. There are times that I'll be watching a movie that's like a little dated, but overall I'm enjoying it, and a joke will be made, something will happen in it, and I feel a panic because I can feel the comment section judging me for watching this. And it is not great for your mental health. And that is another reason you need real life community, because real life community lets you know how actual people act, not the comment section. The invisible comment section is part of why I won't tag things sometimes. Yeah, no. Like, the invisible comment section is like a real thing, and it affects how we interact in our daily lives. I can say for a fact that it affects the way I interact, because I'm constantly, like, worried whether or not someone is going to react to me in real life like they would react to me on the internet. And I've had to train myself, and having, like, a real life community has really helped with this, where I've had to, like, train myself to be like, that is not real. That is not real. Like, that is a bunch of really weird people who react really poorly to random things, and I am policing myself and what I enjoy and my actions and my freedom throughout the world, based on what, like, a few weird people might say. Weird people that I'm not even around. And it fucks with you. It fucks with you. And so a lot of these young people, I think, have that. They have, okay, here's the best thing I can kind of compare it to. Who all had shitty parents? Or just parents that, were harsh on you in some way. You ever get that feeling in the back of your mind when you're doing something and you can hear, like, your mom's yelling at you for it, right? Your mom's criticizing you for it. When you, like, put on an outfit that you know one of your parents, like, wouldn't have liked, and you can hear them, you can feel them over your shoulder, right? That's what the invisible comment section is. We've done this to ourselves, and that honestly leads me to believe, like, this kind of behavior online is abusive. Because if you are having the invisible comment section, like, hovering over you at your life, that like, throughout your life, that is a trauma response. It just is. It just is. All right. So on the subject of intimacy still, ditch the dating apps. I really do think people need to limit their interaction with dating apps until they can also learn how to be intimate in real life. I think dating apps are often depressing and can lead to really, again, kind of like pornography, really unreasonable standards for us to set each other up for. It also is a haven for fucking predators and weird Republican guys who pretend they're not weird Republican guys until you're stuck on a date with them. And, like, because this is, like, a problem that I've heard so many women talk about. Like, how am I supposed to date? Men pretend that they're not Republicans, and then you go on a date with them, and then they are. And I'm like, this is a dating app problem. Because if you are meeting people through friends, like, in real life, this isn't an issue. You never end up with, like, a weird Republican guy because, like, your friends have already vetted this person. Literally, it's the same thing as I experienced with the people in heaven can see you sin growing up. Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of this behavior feels like being back in evangelicalism. It really does. A lot of this behavior feels like being back in, like, a really shitty church. I feel like they just open you to incels. Yeah, seriously. I ended up meeting my now spouse when I decided I was going to talk to people and maybe make friends at a party. Yeah, exactly. I never translated well to dating apps. I have no idea how to actually use them. Glad I don't have to do them now. Hubs has said the same thing. Seriously, I can't imagine dating ever again. God, I'm so glad I have a wife and that she's awesome. And I met my wife through movie night. Like, that's how I met Heather. It feels like you're shopping for a partner. Yes, exactly. Why does this keep crashing? My YouTube keeps crashing. The internet here's been real bad this morning. I don't know why. Dating apps have no incentive in helping you find a permanent mate. The more you swipe, the more money they get. Yep, exactly. I was surrounded by Republicans and I found my partner on an app, but that's just me. Yeah, so I don't think dating apps are inherently a bad thing, especially if you're, like, rural. But, like, a lot of people kind of rely on them entirely for, like, trying to find a potential partner, instead of going out and trying to find community in their actual community. I found my partner at a convention we were both staffing. I found my partner on Tumblr. Like I said, you can find people on the internet. It's not entirely something like impossible to happen, but I think people are relying on them really heavily. Like, I think if you're going to use a dating app, it shouldn't be something you're like super heavily focused on, right? People abuse the ability to have access online versus in real life. Exactly, that's what I'm trying to get at. All right. So, this is going to be a long stream today, guys, but I kind of planned on it going long. So, and we're not going to get to the other thing I want to discuss. That'll probably be a tomorrow venture. All right. So here's something we have to do outside of the internet in order to have a healthier relationship with the internet, right? I tell people often to stop looking for a partner. Yes, exactly. Look for friends. Look for friends. That's what you want. You want friends. You want community. And then having friends and community, eventually you may meet someone and you're like, huh, this is a very cool person who seems to like me back, and maybe this could be something, you know? Okay, so here's something we have to do in real life, right? So that we can have a healthier relationship with online. Revitalize our third spaces. Really and truly, guys, we talk all the time about third spaces, but so many people do not utilize the ones we have. We have to utilize them, okay? And that includes, you know, parks, right? It's a beautiful day today. Lovely day to go to the park. You don't even have to go to the park with anybody. Just go to the park. Read a book. Read a book at the park. Go for a little walkie walk. We have a rose garden in our park here that's right down the road. It's gorgeous. And sometimes me and my wife just like to go there and sit and enjoy the smell of the roses and the bees and watching other people there. The other day we went to oh god, what's that called? It's that little mall area. Help me out. My brain's soup today. And it's always soup. I shouldn't say today. It's just kind of always like this. Honey, you know what I'm talking about. Where the movie theater is, and Roosters. What's that part of town? Anyway, there's like a little town square there. Like a little park in the middle of it. And there was a guy out, and he just had snakes. Pullman Square, thank you. Thank you. Pullman Square. And there was a guy out, and he just had snakes. Just random snakes. He was just taking his snakes out for some chill time in the grass. And we talked to the snake guy. I'm in Huntington, West Virginia. Everybody knows I'm in Huntington, West Virginia. Yeah, just snakes, little snaky boys, and he was just there with his snakes in the park. It was really nice. So sometimes you meet weird people in the park, and it's nice, and you just have a little chat, and you never see them again. So just like go to the park, and like you can people watch, you can read a book, you can do a little walkie walk. You know, just go out and revitalize that third space. The library. Libraries need your help right now. Libraries need your help right now. So go utilize your local library. If you want to have a meeting of some sort, right? You can do a Dungeons and Dragon group. You can have a pizza party. You can, have a book club, a knitting circle. There's almost every single library has like some places that you can go to for free. You just like reserve the room and it's yours for like however long you tell them to. You tell them you want to be there. Utilize that space. Utilize it because they're there, they're free, and you can. Took the oldest to a presentation on astrology a few weeks ago and it was pretty neat. Yeah, exactly. You can do all sorts of stuff at your local library. All sorts of stuff. And you should. That's the thing, we want all of these, oh, we need more third spaces. We need more third spaces. Yeah. The thing is, we can't get people out of the house to utilize the ones we already have. So you got to leave the house and utilize those third spaces. You have to revitalize them. Churches, synagogues, mosques, covens. There are all these like religious groups you can join. Join a club. Join a group. Join something. Be a part of something. It'll help you with your social skills and it revitalizes these third spaces we have so we can work on getting more and more diverse third spaces. There's a coffee shop here in my town. Pretty cheap. You can go there, get like a little coffee or like a little bagel and you can just sit there for a long time. Cool people come in and out. You can talk to them. The barista's really nice. Me and my friends meet there all the time and just chill. And these are really good places and you can make new friends there too. Like I've met people and talked to them at the bookstore, at the, so here is a little homework assignment that I want to give you guys. If you can find it, you can probably find it on Internet Archive, if nothing else. There's a movie, right, that I want you guys to watch. Especially if you're like millennial and younger, right? There's a movie called Slackers. And I want you to go and watch that and watch how people used to interact with one another. Okay? The whole movie is about weird people interacting with one another. Just like human beings interacting with one another. That's the whole movie, what it's about. It's about all of these weird little people and the way they talk to one another and express themselves and express their ideas. And it's fantastic. It's real weird and like avant-garde, like very indie. It's very, very Gen X, incredibly Gen X movie. But I want you to look and watch and see how those human beings interacted with each other because they're all weird little freaks. But that's how people used to talk to one another. That's how people used to interact. So I want you to go watch that movie. Please. Slackers, haven't thought about that in years. Yeah. Which is it? Is it the 1990? Hold on. It's Slacker, not Slacker. Sorry. It's the one by Richard Linklater. If you can find a link to that, honey, for Internet Archive, can you post it in the chat? That rooster's on one today. Yeah, he is. He's been on one, man. Really and truly. That rooster, man. There you go. There's a link for you guys to watch the movie. And you should. Because you need to remember. You need to know how people used to interact with one another. Alright. So on to the next one. Okay? Are we going to have to do this in 2 parts? How much longer do I have on this? Wow, a lot. Okay. Yeah, we're going to have to split this probably. I do want to let this stream go long, though. At least get halfway fucking through this. Alright. So next. Next rule. Don't buy it for at least 24 hours. Right? If it is something you do not need for a specific thing for a specific time. Like, I understand, okay, like, look, if you need, for example, a dress for your cousin's wedding next week, right? And you need it during, like, for a certain time, go ahead and get it, right? But if it's just a thing that you could do without, right? Wait for 24 hours. Give yourself time to think about whether or not you actually need to make that purchase. Or if you maybe want to try to get it some other time or from some other place, right? Don't impulse buy. All right? You can save a lot of money that way. And, you're not giving money to these fucking megacorps. All right, next one. This one's going to be controversial. We can go back and forth on it. AI is fun, but it's also devil technology. And we do have to remember that, right? I don't think that AI is one of those things that, like, you should never interact with. I'm not going to judge anybody for utilizing it for fun or, to generate certain things. I've found that if you tell people no, that they should never do something ever, that makes them want to do it more. So, it's one of those things that you have to, learn to navigate, right? Because it can be fun, but it is also devil technology, and we do need to remember that. Evil wizard technology. Yeah, it's evil wizard technology. AI for some things is okay, but mass learning generative AI is just bad. Yeah, and it's bad for the environment. You shouldn't do it because it's bad for the environment. And, it stifles creativity. It steals people's shit. It's, plugged into fucking everything now. And we shouldn't let these tech companies, force this shit on us when we don't want it. There's a ton of reasons to not use it. But I do understand if you want to, AI generate something every once in a while. Just don't, use it all the time, right? What do you mean with devil technology? Yeah, it's devil technology. It is kind of inherently evil. It is, like I said, number one, really, really fucking bad for the environment. It relies a lot on thievery. Everything I hear about it is just awful. There are pastors now that are AI generating sermons. Did you know that? They are AI generating their fucking sermons. It is simply not a replacement for actual human art, and actual human ingenuity. And fascists love the shit. They love it because they hate art and they hate artists. AI could be great for some tedious work processes, but that's overwhelmingly not what it's being used for. Yeah, exactly. AI used to have real purpose, and seeing the road we went down with mass generative AI is depressing. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just not... It's not great stuff, you know? And like I said, I'm not going to judge you. And like I said, too, I find that telling people no, that's bad, never do that, just makes people want to do it more. So... It's Slacker. It's not Slackers. That there is a different movie called Slackers, and I'm not sure if that's what y'all are thinking of. It is called Slacker. Slackers is a different movie. We're not talking about the 2002 film. We're talking about the 1990 film. All right. Okay. This one, it feels self-evident, but I felt the need to put it on here anyway. Never invest in cryptocurrency. Just don't. Don't do it. Don't invest in cryptocurrency. I feel like I don't need to tell this to you guys, right? I feel like y'all are smart enough to figure this out. I gotta put my jacket back on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting chilly. I'm a chilly boy. That wind is cold. The sun is nice, right? And it's like a decent temperature out here, but then the wind blows, and I'm like, oh no. I'm cold. But yeah, don't invest in cryptocurrency. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. It's not going to go well for you. It's just gambling. It's literally just gambling. And I feel... And on that note, don't gamble. Please. I feel like... Like, gambling is just not a good idea. Like, I'm not going to, like... This is another one of those things where I'm not going to be like, okay... You know, I'm not going to fucking yuck anybody's yum, you know? If you want to get a fucking lottery ticket... or go to a casino every once in a while. Like, I'm not gonna shit on you for doing that, okay? But, like, don't download those fucking gambling apps and don't invest in cryptocurrency. $10,000 in crypto? Holy shit. Crypto is such a weird concept. Money was built on trust in the state. What the fuck is crypto based by? The agreed upon urge to grift. Yes! That's literally what it's based on. It's like a pyramid scheme. Don't invest in crypto. Don't do it. No matter how much you're pressured to. All right. Number 10. The internet is not your personal army, and you are not anybody's soldier. The internet is not your personal army, and you are not anybody's soldier. This is going to be a hard one for people to learn. You are not... The internet cannot... Hey, I remember that one from the 4chan internet rules. Yeah, that was like one of those like actually decent rules they built. It is not your personal army. It is not your personal army. The internet cannot provide justice, and it cannot provide accountability. It can provide punishment, but it can provide only one type of punishment, which is public shame. And so you have to ask yourself, is public shame an appropriate punishment for what has transpired here? And if the answer is no, then you maybe should not engage in that. The internet is not capable of providing accountability. It cannot give you justice. It is not a machine that is built for that. It is not. In order to get justice, there has to be some sort of trial. There has to be evidence. There has to be a jury of some sort in order to achieve justice. I meant sometimes public shame is the right answer. Yeah, sometimes. The thing is, we have utilized that to the point it is useless. Because public shame is that a lot of people are just thirsty for blood. A lot of people are just, there's no evidentiary standards online, nor standards of conduct. Exactly. And because of that, it cannot provide justice. It cannot provide justice. It cannot provide accountability. This is a machine. We are trying to make do something that it cannot do. It cannot do that. And once you take into consideration things like deep fakes and AI, things get even more complicated on that front. So, like, the internet cannot give you justice, and the person you're shaming has to be capable of feeling shame, which is why it doesn't work on people like J.K. Rowling. Yeah, exactly. The vast majority of evil people online, I need you to fundamentally understand something, and this is actually another point that I want to get to on this. If you God, the wind. I'm so sorry. You probably can only hear the wind right now. Calm down. If you would not give them money, do not give them attention. Okay? Jake Paul said something. I don't know if you've seen the commercial for his new reality show. Right? And he said something in that commercial that was remarkably insightful for someone like Jake Paul. And he said, "This is America. The currency isn't being liked. The currency is attention. And when you have people's attention, you can do anything." It doesn't matter if you are liking them or hating them. If you are giving them attention, you are giving them money. You are giving them the currency they need. Okay? It's just the reality of the situation. So, you are giving them social currency, and sometimes you are giving them physical currency. So, honestly, as counteractive as it seems, the best thing you can do is tell people, these people, they don't want to debate you. They don't actually want to debate you. In good faith, at least. They want to debate you because they want to create positions that humanity will see as worth debating, right? They want to bring their positions into the mainstream, right? So the best thing you can do is, you don't even have to be, really, really super mean to them. You can just be like, "Man, you're a weird little freak who's harshing the vibes," and then do not speak to them again. You tell them they're a weird little freak who's harshing the vibes, and then you go away. You don't have to prove their point. You don't have to make them feel like they're wrong, because their point is stupid and their vibes are bad. And so you just tell them they're a weird little freak who's harshing the vibes, and then you leave them alone forever. The ones who want to debate you want you to present an argument they can use as a straw man. Exactly. So don't feed the trolls. Exactly. Don't feed the trolls. Don't do it. Don't feed the trolls. Don't debate them. Don't try to prove them wrong. Don't do any of that shit. Just be like, you're a weird little freak and you're harshing the vibes. Go away. Like, we don't want you at this party. You're being weird. And it's so hard to do that too, because like we want to sit there and be like, you know, you're wrong and here's why you're wrong and here's all the reasons you're wrong. They don't care. And like most people don't care either. They're not going to sit there and read through that thread. They're not going to see who is giving the most logical argument. They don't care. What they want to do is, and now that you have these two positions, they're like, well, these are obviously two positions that are viable for thought. But if you just call them a weird little freak, you're shutting that down. You're like, actually, no, this isn't a debate we need to have. Like, logic doesn't work on them. They got their soundbite already. Yep. Logic does not work on them. You cannot logic them out of any position because they don't see truth the same way we do. They just do not see truth the same way we do. When we want to look at objective truth, we need things like, facts and evidence and studies and statistics. And that's not how they see truth. They see truth as a divine, God-given thing that will be true despite the evidence. For example, like, look at how young Earth creationists talk about things, right? It does not matter how much evidence you give a young Earth creationist, they are not going to come to see your position. They are not going to come to see your position because they see truth as this, like, static, eternal thing given by God that, is never subject to new evidence or critique. It doesn't matter how many statistics you give them about how transition improves trans people's lives. What they believe the truth is that God made male and female, and any evidence to the contrary is not going to sink in. So, like, because they believe that that is the God-given eternal truth. They believe that there are specific God-ordained hierarchies that cannot be tampered with or must exist despite all evidence stating that it is bad for humanity. That is how they view truth. So yeah, don't feed the trolls. Really and truly, just tell them they're weird little freaks who are harshing the vibe. And you know what? You can do this too when it is particularly effective on fascists, because fascists rely on not being weird little freaks. Like, their whole worldview is based around, like, this belief that they are normal and natural and that their worldview is the correct God-ordained one, right? So when you tell them that they're weird little freaks who are harshing the vibe, it cuts them real deep. God made light and dark before human sex, but there's a spectrum in that too. Are they also deniers of dusk and dawn? Yeah, honestly, yeah, kind of. They're just like that. They're just like that. They're not, there's no amount of logic you can give these people, okay? But honestly, like, you can also use, like I said, it's very, very effective for fascists. They shut down when you do that. They don't know how, or they implode, and they sit there and try to, like, you know, goad you into something, and you just ignore them and tell them that they're being weird, right? And then you block them, right? Like, you just get rid of them. You don't have to think about them ever again. And if they make a new account and they come back, then, you know, they're the real freak here. Because that's real weird, desperate behavior. But you can also do this when other people are being weird and reactionary online. You can. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I know that, like, we are inclined to not want to do that to other, like, lefties and liberals and stuff like that, because, you know, a lot of times we agree with them on stuff, but, like, if they're being weird, you can tell them, okay? If they are putting out positions that, like, the vast majority of human beings think are, like, weird or reactionary, or if they are, like, unreasonably angry about something small, you can just be like, calm the fuck down. Calm the fuck down. You're being weird, you're harshing the vibes, we don't like that here. Go away. Like, you don't have to put up with it. You don't have to put up with people being fucking bullies or cry bullies on the fucking internet. You just don't. You don't. All right. Go sit in the timeout corner. You can come back to the conversation once you calm down. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to go sit in the timeout corner until you fucking calm down. I have a whole block list on Blue Sky that's called antisocial behavior. And it is a block list that covers a wide variety of people across the entire political spectrum. And I've realized, hello, Bee. Bumblebee, yeah, you're gonna have to go somewhere else, okay? You can't hang out here. I want you to go do your job, okay, Bumblebee? Thank you. Yeah, I've realized that I had accidentally made a list of just absolute stereotypes of the most insufferable people online. Everything from, like, there was, like, you know, it's like the MAGA people, right? The MAGA people are on there. There is some, like, really, like, blue MAGA type people, who are, like, gargling Chuck Schumer's dick right now, and I'm that shit I don't understand. I have, like, the tender queers and the cry bullies on there. I had one vegan who came in because I like posted something about making sack lunches for the homeless, and there was a vegan that came in and was like, you are feeding people dead carcasses and you should be ashamed of yourself. And I'm like, this is antisocial behavior. You're going in the antisocial behavior bin, okay? A crybaby is somebody who like, will provoke you in some way, and then if you react, they will pretend that they're the victim in the entire situation. Like, they'll come in and they'll say something really mean or fucked up, and you're like, hey man, that's really mean and fucked up. And then they're like, well, I am clearly the victim here. That's what a crybaby is. All right, next. The internet is forever. The internet is forever. Remember, anything you post on it is forever. It is forever. It is going to be there forever. It is something you may be associated with forever. So be careful with what you post on the internet. However, with that being said, I had one on here that was kind of on the same. There needs to be some sort of statute of limitations on posts. People do change. People do get better. People do change their worldviews. I have videos up from a year ago that are of me saying and doing things that I no longer believe or believe are helpful. Because human beings grow and they change and they become different and or better people. Or sometimes worse people. And so there has to be some sort of limit on how far you can dig back on people's posts, and it needs to be considered bad form to dig back too far. And if you are digging back on people's posts that they made when they're a fucking minor, that's gross. I'm sorry, that's gross, disgusting shit. When you're a kid, your brain's not fully developed, you're going to say all sorts of dumb crap. Okay? I frankly think that anything you do before you were fucking legal drinking age is one of those things that needs to be, like, chucked into the scrap bin. I think it's really bad form to dig up stuff from that people said 5 fucking years ago or more as proof that they're just like a terrible person now. Now, if they're continuing to do shitty things, you know, whatever, but then you can just be like, yeah, this person's a shitty person right now. Like, and if they're that shitty, they probably have stuff within, like, the last year or two that proves that they are shitty and continue to be shitty. Like, you don't have to dig up people's fucking... And, like, their personal business, too. Like, we don't need to be digging up people's fucking, you know, shit from their divorces or, like, whatever. Like, there's just certain stuff you don't touch, man. And I think it should be considered really bad form to do that kind of thing. I think it depends on the thing. If they were an adult in 2000 and did blackface on TV, we can remind them every so often. I don't know, man. I think that's bad. And I'm not going to sit here and get into specifics because that's just going to get me in trouble. But really and truly, I think people fucking change. And I think that the way we interact with people online, I need you to understand that any system you create where people can do this kind of public shaming is a system you are also subject to. If you create the infrastructure to punish people for things they did 5 years ago, you are subject to that too. And you may be doing something now that 5 years ago you're going to regret, and people will be able to dig that up and hold you accountable for it, or tell you you're a shitty person for it. And yeah, there's gonna be give or take here where there are some things that, you know, are a hard line. And that is a discussion we can have. But seriously, guys, there has to be space for grace. Like, when does the punishment end? Why are we the judge and jury? Let he who is without sin. Exactly. Yeah, like I said, the internet cannot provide you with justice. It just can't. It is not set up to do that. So there has to be some sort of, like, statute of limitations on posts where if you're pulling up posts from somebody from 5 fucking years ago that's, like, barely anything, especially, you need to be the one who should be ashamed of yourself. Okay? I think that is, like, if we're gonna do some sort of, like, there has to be some sort of rule on that. There has to be. You cannot just hold people accountable forever. Forever. You cannot just let them walk around with a stain on themselves forever that they can never get rid of. And, you know, with us all having the digital footprints we have now, if we continue to do this, we are all subject to it, and it's obviously making people weird and paranoid, right? Like we talked about the invisible comment section earlier, right? We talked about how that is like rewiring our brains. And if we don't start creating like rules and kind of like stigmas around certain actions, then we are not going to be able, that people engage in online, then we are simply not going to be able to function, right? If we never move past someone's mistakes, they have no reason to grow, change, or improve. If something I said or did made me bad forever, I think I'd just lean into being shitty. And so many people do. So many people do, and that's why we're seeing a rise of that. There's no space for grace. And like, we have to rethink the way we interact with this technology. And I think that there has to be a, like, if it's more than like 5 years old, unless it is egregious, you don't touch it. And even if it is like, I mean, it would define, like, if it's somebody like fucking touching little kids or something, like, yeah, okay, hold it against them forever. You know, I'm not gonna lose any fucking sleep over that shit. You know what I mean? But like, if somebody said something stupid on the internet 5 years ago and has since, like, not said stupid things generally, why are we still digging that up? Why are we still digging it up? We got to give people grace and room to grow and change. All right. Let's see. On that note, don't be reactionary. Right? Think before you post. Don't immediately get mad. Don't get mad over little shit. Like, really and truly ask yourself, like, is this an actual social problem that people are fucking dealing with? Or am I just mad and or insecure about something and wanting to take it out on somebody? Do I just want blood? Like, a lot of people are fucking reactionaries, and a lot of people will take their own personal feelings about a subject and project it onto an entire social issue or people group. I brought up the other day, I made a joke about one of the dumbest discourses that I've seen online. And it was like, people being like, you shouldn't make fun of people who have tiny penises because that's transphobic, because trans men have tiny penises. And I was like, why are you bringing me into this? Why are you bringing me? I don't want to be a part of this. And even if that was true, which it's not, okay? Even if that was true, why would you think men would want that brought up in public like that? Why? No, don't do it. And so I think sometimes people think like, I am hurt or offended by this, or I know someone who was hurt or offended by this, and I'm going to take that feeling and project it onto an entire people group and be real reactionary about it and constantly get into fights about it because it makes me feel like I'm being a good activist. And that's not good activism. That's just being a reactionary. And it's not cool, and you shouldn't do it. As a young Gen Z from Europe, just wanted to say that your stream last week about Gen Z is completely accurate. Thank you. So don't be reactionary. Don't harsh the vibes, okay? Like, and another thing too, is if people are making like a chill, innocent post, don't be a fucking weirdo on it, okay? Don't be that person who is like, don't be the bean soup people, okay? Do you remember that post? I think it was on Twitter. And it was like a lady talking about how she like had tea in her garden with her husband that morning, and it was just like a nice wholesome little post about a woman like being like chill with her husband and drinking tea, and people freaked the fuck out because they were like, way to show off your privilege. What, like, I don't have a garden. Some people are poor, Linda. Like, don't be that person. Don't be that person. You suck if you do that. Let people enjoy things. Let people be mellow. Number 13, Nazi shit makes you a loser always. You do Nazi shit, you're a loser. And you can tell people they're being a loser if they do Nazi shit. Right? Are we all on the same page with that one? I feel like that one's pretty self-explanatory. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up for here. This is a long-ass stream. Long-ass stream. So, we should probably go ahead and start wrapping up. If I saw friends on Facebook post something with questionable vibes, I always reached out in DMs to ask if they knew like the like background of that thing, and or ask why they posted it in private. Yes. You can ask people in private about things. Transitioning is big dick energy, therefore all trans men have big dicks. Yeah. So yeah, like don't be the person who's like yucking people's yum just because you're like insecure or sad and want to feel good about yourself. Yeah, that is another one, Margaritaville. I have noticed that. Like, don't be doing that. And like, yeah, no, there's a lot of weird stuff going on around that whole thing. This is not the stream. I will be so for real. Like, Israel-Palestine stream right now, not something I terribly want to get into. Don't be a fucking weirdo. Don't be an Islamophobe. Don't be an anti-Semite. Don't be a racist. Like, I feel like this stuff, like, feel like we've let this get too complicated. Like, just don't be a fucking weird piece of shit on the internet, man. Don't be a dick. Also, thank you, Margaritaville, for the $10. It's Passover, and I'm seeing it on every Happy Passover post. Yeah, because people are fucking weird, man. Don't be an asshole. Don't be weird. Don't be a dick. Like, a random fucking Jewish person in New Jersey. Like, first off, a lot of younger people are pro-Palestine, right? Like, a lot of younger Jewish people are, like, not thrilled with the state of Israel right now, at the very least. And so, like, doing that is just mean and stupid also. Like, don't just like comment that kind of shit on people's like random fucking posts of them being Jewish online. I had a similar sentiment during Ramadan. Did you what was going on during Ramadan? You never talked to me about this stuff. Were people being like weird like pro-Israel people on like every Muslim's post? I know that's a thing too. I know that like people who are like real deep into the stuff with Israel, they'll just like post on like random fucking Muslims shit. People were posting shitty stuff underneath Muslims' posts. Yeah, exactly. Don't be shitty. Don't be a piece of shit on the internet. Don't be a fucking Islamophobe on the internet. Like, I feel like this kind of stuff. Like, don't just be like yucking random fucking Muslim people's yums, man. Like, they're just trying to vibe during Ramadan and they're hungry, so don't be a dick, man. That's even more of a dick. That adds insult to the injury already, right? Because not only are you fucking with random Muslim people, you're fucking with random Muslim people while they're hungry. Don't do that shit. It's rude, okay? I don't think I saw any pro-Israel stuff on Ramadan posts, but definitely Christian nationalist shit. Yeah, no, they're real bad about it too. Like, you don't have to be a fucking jerk to people, man. And when people do that, you can just be like, you're a weird little freak. Don't be a weird little freak. You're being weird. Don't be dumb. Don't be weird. Don't be mean. Yeah, it was a lot of that, and some really gross images from Gaza were posted under Muslims just posting Eid greetings. Yeah. The other thing I kind of want to bring to the forefront, that, and different people may feel differently about this, right? But this is just me personally. When terrible things happen in marginalized communities, and people are just trying to vibe and get through it, maybe it's not something that you need to, like, constantly be talking to them about. I, like, as a trans person, like, I don't know, sometimes people will come in and be like, I'm just trying to vibe, and people will be like, so will you please talk about, this specific thing that happened to a trans person that's, like, awful? And a lot of times when those things happen, I don't want to talk about them because I am in pain, and I just don't want to talk about them. And I don't want to talk about them because then they're, like, open for people to comment on, and make shitty comments on. And if I'm in pain about something, like when like a trans kid dies, I don't usually post something about it, even if other people do. And I know a lot of people feel compelled to do that or called to do that, and I'm not judging them for doing that, obviously. Obviously, it's information that needs to get out, but I also don't think that people should feel pressured to talk about things like that, because they shouldn't be expected to expose their pain to people like that. I grieve in private for things like these. Yeah, that's how I am too. I don't usually make posts when like when that trans man got fucking tortured. What was it, in New York, New Jersey, one of those places? Couldn't post about it. Couldn't do it. There was nothing I had to say that would have brought anything to that conversation. And it's something that just made me fucking feel sick to talk about. So I just didn't. As for dating apps, Muzz and JDate are owned by Match, and ads for both feel like an assault from your family to get hitched already. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, you guys. Utilize the block button. utilize the block button. You can block anybody you want. Blocking is not a sign of weakness. Some people will... Okay, so here's something, right? Creators can delete your posts. They can delete your posts. It doesn't matter what you say. They can delete your posts. They can block you. They can do whatever they want because it's their page. I am fully within my right to delete and or block anybody I see fit. And if you're being a mega asshole, I'm not gonna put up with that. And something I've seen over the years is like, it'll be like some random fucking faceless profile that like spam comments a bunch of shit talking about how they're a marginalized person, and I need to listen to their opinion. And then they'll act like a lunatic and I block them. And then they make a new account and tell me that I am silencing the voices of marginalized people. Okay, so this kind of ties into another thing I have on here, which is that if you want to be anonymous, that's fine. You want to be anonymous on the internet, that's fine. You have to realize, though, if you're going to be anonymous, nobody's going to take you seriously. You can't just say that you come on the internet and, like, with a faceless profile and be like, I'm a disabled black woman. You need to listen to my opinion on this. I don't know you're a disabled black woman. You are a random faceless profile. You could be lying to me right now. And if it's something that I have never heard from any other disabled black woman, I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. And if you're acting like a Looney Tunes in my fucking comment section, I'm going to block you. Yeah, like, people can just lie about their identities. Like, I'm not gonna take shit seriously if you're a faceless profile. I'm just not. Like, you are now being treated with a grain of salt. You have chosen to be anonymous, and because of that, I no longer know whether or not you are who you say you are. And I'm just gonna assume you're not, because everything on the internet is fake, which is another thing I have in here. It's all fake. People are not who they say they are. People are lying. People are trying to grift you. People are trying to fuck you up. And sometimes, I mean, we've seen Republican politicians do this. They'll come in and pretend to be, they'll have like an alt account where they're pretending to like be a black person. And they're like, as a black person, I support this politician. And then sometimes they will like forget that they're not on their alt account and they'll just post it from their own account. And we've caught them doing this, right? We know that this is a problem. People can just fucking lie. And so if you are a faceless profile, and you are acting like a weird reactionary in my comment section, I'm just gonna delete your comments and block you. Like, that's how it's gonna go. So all right. Take breaks from the internet. You should take breaks from the internet. Even if it's just a day or two, try not to interact with social media and stuff. Do your detoxes, right? You should do your detoxes. This is gonna be a real long stream today. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna try to get through all of this. Because we're kind of like rolling a lot of these into one, so it's actually going quicker than I thought it was going to. But we'll try to like speed run some of this other stuff. On that note, when we're talking about anybody can block you, right? You can be blocked for your political or religious views, and that is not persecution. You can absolutely be blocked for that. Anybody can block you for anything. It's their page. They can curate it however they want. So, yeah, if you are, being blocked for your political or religious views, that is perfectly fine. People are allowed to do that. I've been off TikTok since the first ban, and my mental health has drastically improved. Seriously. I wish I could get off TikTok, but that shit has me in a fucking chokehold. Or for no reason. Bad vibes, personal space, personal rules. Yep. You can just block somebody because you don't like their vibes. You can do that. You are allowed. You can just be like, man, I find this person annoying. And you can just block them. You don't even have to think about it. You don't have to care. Like, and if you're the type of person who gets like all like butthurt about that, about being blocked, maybe don't be an asshole on people's posts next time. Don't run around being a jerk. Don't do it. Okay, next. Do not film homeless people or people in active addiction. That's a jerk move. It's a dick move. Don't do it. And just, like, scroll by that shit. Don't give it attention. The more attention you give it, the more it gets boosted in the algorithm and the more people see it. And then more people see that person having the worst day of their fucking life. So that kind of shit, don't interact with it. Don't give it attention. People should not be able to make platforms and clout off of being cruel to people going through the worst period of their lives. Next, ask, is this my business? Is this business I should be getting involved in? Or is this other people's business? Is there a possibility that I have found myself walking in on an intercommunity dialogue that I am indeed not a part of? Like, sometimes you don't need to be involved in a discussion. Sometimes, that is black people's business, right? White people, sometimes it is black people's business. You don't need to be getting involved, right? Sometimes cis and straight people, that is gay and trans people's business, and you don't need to be getting involved in that. It is not your job to pass that around. It is not your job to get involved in that conversation. Sometimes it ain't your business, and you need to scroll on by, okay? Sometimes it's people's private romantic business that they probably shouldn't be fucking posting on the internet, but they're doing it anyway. And sometimes you don't need to be getting involved in people's private romantic business or their personal beefs, because it's not actually a fucking thing that you need to be involved in. They need to handle it themselves because they're adults, okay? And that's another thing. Maybe don't post that kind of shit. Don't have fucking beefs. Speaking of beefs, all beef must be either taken to the DMs or solved by means other than internet arguing. We need to bring back some sort of, like, competition, right? That people can solve their beefs. We need to have, like, rap battles or, like, fucking ballroom again. Because some people just need to solve their fucking beefs. Sometimes it is a beef and it is not a larger societal or systemic issue. It's just two people who don't fucking get along. And they are making it into a societal or systemic issue in order to prove their point. So you just need to let them have beef. Just let them duke it out. They're adults. They can handle their business. All right. Give creators a week to apologize. You should not be demanding apologies of people after 24 hours. 24 hours is not enough time for people to realize they've done something wrong. It is not enough time for people to realize they've done something wrong. Sometimes they'll need even longer than a week. Sometimes it takes a couple months or a couple years even to realize that you were the one who indeed done fucked up in that situation. So demanding that people apologize within 24 hours, that pretty much guarantees you're going to get a fake apology. And then people are going to pick that apology apart. It's just a really bad system. You got to give people time to realize they've done something wrong. I see so many butthurt people over black people only posts. Like, can you just not just ignore one page or one post once in a while? Damn. Yeah, no, really. Sometimes it's not your business, or sometimes a post isn't for you, right? Like, I'll see a lot of people, like, it's like the people on recipes who are like, how dare you post this? I am allergic to this item. And then it's not for you. It's not for you then. It's fine. It's fine when it are not about you. Okay? What am I supposed to do with this ukulele if not apologize immediately? Stop! Alright. Beware of WebMD and medical grifters, right? There's a lot of medical grifters out there. There's a lot of people who are trying to armchair diagnose you out there. Chill. Limit your exposure. And remember, like I said earlier, even if you have a diagnosis, that does not mean people on the internet are giving you good advice about how to manage it, and it does not mean that that diagnosis is forever, okay? You can work some things out, right? All right. Ask yourself, does this belong here? Right? Does this belong on the internet? Is this something that I should maybe be discussing with my friends or my therapist? Okay? Because one thing I can say as a creator, I get quite often, and it is always very jarring and fairly upsetting, that I really wish that people would not do anymore. And I feel weird even bringing it up because I know that the people doing it are in pain and they're doing this because they're in pain. I do not want to hear about the violent, graphic details of your sexual assault in my comment section. That is something that people I have noticed will bring up when they disagree with someone. They will feel triggered or they will feel upset about something, and they will provide violent graphic details of their sexual assault to try to gain an edge in the argument. And I do not appreciate that, especially since usually I am not the person that someone is arguing with when they do that. Sometimes they are arguing with someone else in my comment section, and I do not appreciate that coming up randomly for me to deal with. And usually when that happens, I will delete all comments because I don't want other people to have to see that either. Please do not do that. That is something you need to talk out with your therapist. That does not belong here. Your private romantic business generally does not belong on the internet, generally does not belong in a public forum, right? There are some things that simply do not belong online. You can keep secrets. It's okay. You can discuss things with your buddies or your spouse, your partner, you know? They don't have to be online. You don't have to do that. Let's see. It's probably not a conspiracy. People are just self-serving idiots sometimes. This is something people need to remember. I know a lot of people on all sides of the political spectrum have a tendency to fall down rabbit holes because of this. Most things are not a conspiracy. Chances are there's not a psyop. Most of the time people are just self-serving idiots. And the thing is that if you think of them as self-serving idiots and not as a government conspiracy, usually there's nothing lost. But there can be a whole lot lost by accusing people of being part of a government conspiracy when they are not. If you come across someone who is a self-serving asshole and you just simply do not engage with them or remove them from whatever you are doing, you can, it has the same result as calling them a Fed, but without the unintended consequences of fucking up solidarity in your movement. So it is better to just assume someone's being a self-serving asshole. Hold social media companies accountable. We need to hold them accountable. We need to find ways to hold them accountable when they fuck up or act crazy. And that's a conversation for a different day because, like I said, stream's already running long. We need digital media literacy classes that are available in schools. I think it should be a mandatory class. Everyone needs to take a digital media literacy class. All right. And that is the rules for the internet that I have made up. What do y'all think? You think we can follow these? You think we can get something out of this? I think we can. All right. Well, we're going to have to wrap up stream. So, if you would like to donate, we do have super chats now. So super chats help. And then I have this Cash App and Venmo. That is my Cash App and Venmo. If you would like to donate to the Cash App and Venmo, we are trying to get dirt for the back, the gardens back here, right? And we really, really need it. We really need dirt. And also, I'll be so for real with you guys, because of the weird economic shit that's happening, tips have been really bad. And aside from the savings that I have put aside to pay for Miles's boxing lessons, and for Sai to take some sort of class, which they haven't decided on yet, we are out of money. Like, completely out of money. And we, I'm getting a little scared on that front, not gonna lie. Tips have been really bad. I've been looking for other work, but it is hard to find other work with our kids' school schedules and with us only having one car. And so anything that can be donated really helps. Joining the Patreon helps. It won't help immediately, but, you know, then I can... Joining the Patreon ensures that I have a more stable source of income. The TikTok Creator Fund has been mostly useless. I used to make $300 to $500 from the Creator Fund. I am now making generally less than 200 from the Creator Fund. The cut's been pretty significant since the weird TikTok whatever happened there. The ban, I guess. So yeah, that has been, it's been a really rough road on that front. And you know, we're not people who want a lot. We're not trying to live high on the hog or anything like that. But I do need to try to make it by. And there's just not a lot of work here. So, all right. Thank you to all of you who left super chats. I really, really appreciate that. A special thank you to all the people who left super chats today. Can I scroll up on these? Is this a result of my really stupid... Of course I can't. I want to read all of y'all's super chats, but it's unfortunately not letting me scroll up on them. I read most of them during the stream though, and I will just continue to do that. So a special thank you to my patrons as well. Jennifer Davidson, Margaret Capehart, Jessica Bednarek, Ariana, Emma Price, Allison Hill, Lauren O'Connor, Mao, Nathan, Morgan Westerin, Eleanor Bucksbaum, Jay Winia, Morgan May, Taylor Condra, River Johnson, Angelini Pellegrini, Faith Benamy, Kristen McSorley, Jacqueline Gordon, Devin Watson, Val Smith, Post-Punk Pastor, Pauline Gibson, Lucas Kempe Cook, and John Borg. Thank you guys so much. A question I'd love to pose is the cultural shift from the old internet to the modern. Back when trolls were pretty regulated to the dark corners versus trolling culture being mainstream now. Have you by chance observed this shift? Yes, I've made videos on this before. We need to drag them back into the dark corners. And the only way to do that is to create some sort of system for how we navigate things. And I think that this is kind of a good place to start. Don't feed the trolls. Don't interact with the Nazis other than to tell them they're weird little freaks. And then leave one comment saying they're weird little freaks and ignore them. From there on out, you've made your point. You don't have to interact with them anymore. You can just block them if you want to. Like, you don't have to interact with that. You don't have to prove them wrong. You don't have to debate them. You don't have to show other people that they exist. Let them come on with another account and be like, you deleted my comment. Who cares? Yep, and I'm going to do it again. I feel like the rise of the liberal debate bros pretty much are at fault for making them mainstream. I think some of that is true. I think that's like a complicated thing. I think it's complicated. I think that it is the debate bros, but I think it's also people forgetting that they're not supposed to feed the trolls and getting real reactionary online, making mountains out of molehills. I think that there's no one in all of this who is entirely innocent. And we just need, because I think what's happened here is we just don't have a structure for this. We don't have a structure for handling this behavior, because this is entirely new technology that we haven't entirely figured out how to navigate. So we need to find ways to navigate it. And I think this is a good place to start. Something fell on the ground. Oh. A shirt? Was it this shirt maybe? I don't know. My kids be leaving shit all over. Anyway, if you like what I do here, like I said, y'all know how to donate. We are going to be working on our garden. And we are going to be working on some community projects here in town. We discussed some of it at Quaker Meeting. If you're local, you know the deal on when to show up for the meetings. By the way, thank Overlord Magatha. Overlord Magatha has been providing lots of food for Quaker Meetings, including a delicious banana bread that I had for breakfast this morning. And also the Trans Mothman flag that is behind me when I do streams inside. That is also the doing of Overlord Magatha. So give Overlord Magatha a big thanks for that. But as always, we're going to have to go ahead and wrap up the stream. But as always, drink a water, eat a food, be kind to yourself, to your neighbor, and to the earth. Thank you guys so much for everything you do. Thank you for listening to this incredibly long 2-hour fucking stream today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and God bless.